This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by trainer Andy Lee here in Saudi Arabia. Andy, it's good to see you. You seem in good spirits. How are you doing?
Doing great. Happy to have another training camp out of the way and heading into the fight now, full of confidence in my man, um, and just ticking the boxes with these days, media days, and whatever. Tomorrow will be the grand arrivals, and then public workouts and press conferences, weigh in, and then ready for the fight.
Andy, it's some run of form Joe's been on and some relationship you two have built. What's going to be the difference though? What more does he have to show that you've been working on in the gym to overcome Daniel Dubois, who's been on a tremendous run himself?
Joe's improved even from those fights with his consistency. I don't have to remind him. He's built on the foundations we've set in those last few fights. In terms of, I'm not reminding him about things I would have to constantly remind him about. That now it's ingrained in him and he's doing it more. I have less work to do with him almost, and it's just fine tuning things now. Working under all the basics are down in terms of his footwork, how he punches, how he moves, not taking breaks, staying engaged, posing a threat, present, and we've had a great camp, and it's been a pleasure because we've got to really work on some good stuff. We've got a good plan for Daniel Dubois. It's going to be a hard fight, of course it is, but I believe in my man. I'm very confident in the work we've done, and hopefully it'll show on the fight.
With Daniel, one of his key assets is that jab. He has a ramrod jab, and everybody talks about it whether they're fighting him or sparring him. How, without giving too much away, how do you negate Daniel Dubois' jab?
Well, he has a great jab, and it's his greatest asset, but he has to start every attack with that jab, whether it be a single jab or a double jab. It's usually the similar pattern of double jab, right hand, left hook, body. He used the double jab to close the distance. Even if it doesn't land, he throws it anyway, just to get him in range. And for me, it's a great thing for Joseph, because we've got to use his greatest asset and make it a weakness. Take that jab away and use it against him. Whether that's stepping back from it, whether it's pick and return, whether it's countering at the same time, whether it's slipping inside or outside of it and countering it. The jab is the best punch in boxing, but if you throw it too readily and if you throw it predictably, then it can be a dangerous punch to throw because it can be used against her. That's what Joe has to do. Joe has to use the jab, Daniel Dubois' best asset, against him.
Just going off of that then, Andy, another talking point's been Joe's weight coming into this fight. Does he maybe put on a little bit more to deal with Daniel's extra physicality, or does he stay a bit lighter to stay on his feet and move around a bit easier? Can you give me any details on that and how you want him to approach it on that front?
He's put on a bit more weight, but it hasn't affected his movement or his speed. I can feel the punches on the pads a lot more, so we're not really, to be honest, the heavyweights have the luxury of not worrying about the weight, and as long as he's performing, I don't really care what he weighs, and he is performing.
We know in the past people have questioned Daniel's heart and his commitment when he's been in the ring in those tough moments. Joe's made no secret of believing that if the going gets tough on Saturday night and he can drag him into those deep waters, if you will, those same feelings might come back up for Daniel. Do you echo those feelings? Do you feel like if that's the way the fight goes, Daniel's heart might come into question?
I think if there was ever a fight to quit in, it would have been not his last fight, but the two before that, in terms of Miller and Herkovich. He was under serious pressure against Miller, and he took serious punishment from Herkovich, but he came through, showed his resolve. So I believe I think he can't really label him a quitter anymore. I think he's overcome that and shown that he's got a bit more metal about him. So we're not looking for any weaknesses or false confidence. If Joe has to go 12 rounds, he has to go 12 rounds. If it's earlier, it's earlier. But he's prepared and ready for whatever Dubois can do with a game plan and he's been drilled to react to every situation he's going to be in.
We put out a predictions video for big fights, and such as this, I interviewed and asked 30, or just under 30 people, and a lot of people were suggesting first half of a fight is where Daniel will be most dangerous, second half Joe could look to maybe take over. Is that going through your minds? Do you see Daniel as being more dangerous in the first half of the fight?
I think he's a big puncher no matter when. But the first 2 rounds are, in any fight, but this fight, are very important. I don't think you got to be careful when to trade with him. But also, can't let him build momentum. So you got to mix and pick your spots. Take the distance, make him doubt himself. Also, crowd him when he's resetting, make him fight when he's not ready. Let him feel something hard, because if he doesn't, he won't respect you. But you can't trade with him. So it's these are heavyweight fights, and especially early in the fight, Emmanuel Stewart would always say to me, make sure you try your opponent in the first 30 seconds, because before you build up or become accustomed or kind of conditioned to being hit, you're very vulnerable, especially in heavyweight boxing. So the first early in the fight is very important.
Andy, when Joe fought Zhilei Zhang, we did an interview on the media day, and you had a little whiteboard behind you and you drew out how you saw, we need a whiteboard and some pens. I should have come better prepared. But can you give me a brief idea as to how you imagine this fight with Daniel Dubois playing out on Saturday night?
I see Joe out jabbing Dubois, using a variation of jabs to beat him, to confuse him, and to demoralise him. Joe's been a world champion. He's a world-class man. He's beaten some world-class guys. He's in the form of his life, and he's going to make a believer out of Dubois.
Andy, I've just got one other question away from all things this. I know you're very focused on Saturday night. Obviously, some reports coming out that yourself and the young Ben Whittaker, somebody I know well, have teamed up. Confirm or deny?
To be honest with you, Andy, with respect to the fighters, I'm here with Joseph, and I only want to speak about Joseph. Paddy Donovan next week, then I'll speak about Donovan, and if I do train Ben, I'll talk about Ben.
Well, if that does come out, Ben, Andy, I'm sure I'll chase you up. But I appreciate your time. Best of luck with the rest of this week. Best of luck on Saturday, and thank you for speaking to me in Boxing News.
Thank you, Andy.